Hello, everybody. Hello. So great to see so many folks here today. Hello. Thank you so much for being here. So excited to see you. Hello. I want to say hello to everybody on Facebook Live. Hello to Lilo Gonzalez, one of our regular artists. So glad you're in the room with us today, Lilo. I know that you had a lot of connection with Pete Seeger, so I'm glad you've come today for Peggy. Hello to Zeta. I always love it when there's small people in the room. Hello, sweetie. Hello to Hindi and Archie in Toronto. Hello to Sandy and Sandy's friend. Hello to Lisa. Glad you're with us again today, Lisa. Hello to Adele in the DMV area. Hello, Lynn in Connecticut. Hello, Doug in Vermont. Hello, Judy in Ohio. I know you have a long history with Peggy.
Hi, Joe. I'll be here on Wednesday, checking in early.
Hello, Yogini. Nice to see you today. Hello, Rick. Great to see you. So Rick Pagliari is one of our Archive Challenge Week singers. And Rick, we're really glad to see you with us today. Hello to Dion in Massachusetts. And hello to Dan in Virginia. And hello to Bonnie in Idaho. And hello, Caroline. Great to see you today. Kathy in Virginia. Great to see you. Nancy's Irish Cow in Washington State. Hello, Mac. Nice to see you today. And hello, Pete, and we're sending Janet lots of love and greetings. And hello, oh, she's going to be there any moment. Hello, yay, there she is. Hi, Janet, good to see you. Hello, Elizabeth in Boston, and hello, Sandy in Canada, in the Yukon. Hello, Kevin in New Hampshire, glad to see you again today. Anne in DC. Hello, Carolyn in Idaho. Hello, Jane, glad you're with us today. Hello, Liz in Vermont, and Gay, glad to see you again today. Hello, Lisa in Indiana, and Marion in Massachusetts. Hello to Luda in BC and Sheila in Florida, Alan in the DMV area, glad to see you. Sue in California, lots of folks in the room today, this is exciting. Hello to Nicola in England. Hello, Nico, glad you're here today. Nico coming in from DC, is going to be running the Facebook page for us. Hello, Judith, another one of our Archive Challenge Week singers. She's going to be with us this week also. Glad to see you, Judith, coming in from Canada. Hello, Belinda and Susan in Seattle, and Elise, another one of our Archive Challenge Week singers. Hello, so glad you joined also. Hello, Janet in Georgia, Betsy, the music director of Washington Rebels, Karen in Arizona, David in upstate New York, Fred and Dennis in BC, Tom, also BC, Peggy in Boston, Susan in the Gettysburg, Pennsylvania area, and Greg Lewis, Washington Rebels director, and also lots of folks not on video. Glad to see you, Sis and Deborah, and Gloria, Linda, Tom, Anita, and if I missed you, I'm so sorry. I'll get you on the goodbye end of things. And hello again also to everybody out there on Facebook Live. Glad you're with us. I just want to say a giant welcome to everybody. This is the Washington Rebels Carpe Diem Arts Daily Antidote of Song. We're here every single day at noon. We will hit this week while we are archive singing our 225th day of singing together. Kind of exciting. And for those of you who are new, we are now at 14 countries, 46 states, and 67,000 views. So we're very excited about how much love there has been for this community and this program. So glad to get to sing with you guys every day. This is a special week because we are partnering, as we did in September, with the American Folklife Center at the Library of Congress, and specifically with Steve Winnick and Jennifer Cutting, two of my colleagues from when I was at the library. And during the Archive Challenge Week, we sing songs from the archive, and it's folks who have actually taken the Archive Challenge and actually submitted a song to the archive as part of that project. I'm going to introduce Steve in 1 second. I just want to say thank you to Binta for managing the tech in this room, and thank you to Nico again for managing the tech on Facebook. And also want to say that my email is in the chat, or will be in the chat if you want to be on the Daily Antidote list. We send out the song leaders in advance every day. There's a donate link. It's actually all of your donations that are paying for the artists that sing with us. All of the money that comes in from donations is going directly to the artists. And the lyrics are also in the chat, or will be when Peggy starts singing. I'm super excited to have a co-host today, Steve Winnick from the American Folklife Center at the Library of Congress. I'm turning it over to you, Steve. Glad you're here.
Right, I will unmute myself. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another Archive Challenge Week. And I think today's guest, Peggy Seeger, is particularly special to us because she's been taking the Archive Challenge for a really long time. So we'll explain that the idea of the Archive Challenge is that you pick a song from the American Folklife Center archive and you arrange it and you learn to perform that song. And in this case, the stay-at-home version, that we put together during the pandemic. You make a home recording of yourself, and that's what we're considering this to be part of that program. Well, Peggy's mother, Ruth Crawford Seeger, was very much involved with the archive, and she actually was a great composer and a music transcriber. And she transcribed a lot of the songs for the Lomaxes when they were putting together their books of songs out of the archive. And because of that, a lot of the songs that Peggy heard around the house when she was a child were actually songs from the American Folklife Center archive, although it wasn't called that. The American Folklife Center name came about later, but it's the same archive. And Peggy's been learning these songs since she was a child, and she's not exactly a child anymore. So it's it's been a couple of years, and she does a great job with our songs. So I think what we're going to do, we're going to talk a little bit about both the song and the archive challenge, but we'll do that after Peggy sings. So we're going to get right into it and introduce the wonderful Peggy Seeger. She's a singer, she's a songwriter, multi-instrumentalist. She's been doing this work of spreading the good word through traditional song and her own songs for longer than we know. And she's a wonderful performer. And of course, she's part of the Seeger family. Her older half-brother was Pete Seeger, and her brother Mike was also a great musician as well. So she's been working within this field for a very long time. So without further ado, I'm going to turn it over to the wonderful Peggy Seeger.
Thank you, Steve. That was absolutely wonderful. It really was. Now, I would like to say something about the song before I sing it, because I think it will mean more to y'all. Goodness, I'm saying y'all. I've been back in England for 10 years now. I still think I'm in North Carolina. I learned this song under very interesting circumstances. It would have been probably when I was about 5 or 6. Now, I don't know. By the way, do we have a time limit on this? Because I tend to just rattle on and on and on. Okay, this is outside Washington, D.C., when Silver Spring looked nothing like what it looks like now. Four Corners was literally 4 corners out with 2 country roads meeting like that. And that was where on Sundays in the summer we went to get the corn on the cob and a bushel of peaches from the farm shop there. And Silver Spring itself was just a tiny little collection. It was probably a hamlet, not a village, because it didn't have a church. I don't think so. Oh yeah, maybe it did. But we would have to all trundle down Colesville Pike to get the bus to go into Silver Spring. Well, I don't know if you know what transcribing means. It literally means listening to something and then writing it down on the music staff paper. Now, that was invented for instruments and singing that was very exact on the whole. And if you wanted to depart in doing decorations or anything like that, you would put a little note or a little kind of mark above the place that would show that you'd do a glottal stop, or you'd do a varnal sound, or you do a melisma, or you would do something like that. So there's my mother. We went into town regularly to listen to these wonderful recordings that the Lomaxes had brought in and put into the archive. And she would come home with a stack of 16-inch aluminum records that had to be played with a thorn needle. It was actually a thorn. And when it but because a steel needle or a metal needle would have ruined these, and they made, whatever you wanted, they'd make you a new copy, aluminum record right there to bring home. It's astounding the idea of it. So I actually made my first recording when I was 7 on an aluminum record, and my father was lifting up the pieces of metal as they came up off to make the grooves. Yeah, I am old, Steve. You put it very beautifully. Anyway, she came home with this one song that she happened to be transcribing on the day that I took a stylus and carved my brother's name right along the top of the keyboard cover of the new piano. Mike, on the beautiful black surface of the keyboard cover of the piano. And my parents had saved up for that. They did not have pennies, but she was a piano teacher. She needed a piano. And my mother went berserk, and she wasn't a violent woman, but she just spanked me in every room of the house. She literally dragged me at age 6 from one room to the next, so furious that her piano had been defaced like this. And then she put me in her lap and we cried. I remember that. I remember it specifically, not only because of this spanking, but because she happened to be transcribing this song at the time. Now, when you transcribe, and it's something that's difficult, and you'll find out how difficult it is when we start to try to sing it together, you cannot put this flower, it was a flower of singing, Flower, and you cannot cram it into this corset of these lines and bars. And she was trying to take it down. So she had to play a line and then lift up the needle and then put it back and play the line again. And then lift up the needle and play the line again and lift up the needle so that she could write it down properly. Now, it was a song, the first line of which sounds like this. I've been a bad, bad girl. Lift up the needle. Here it comes again. I've been a bad, bad girl. There's me with my bottom sore, and she is playing this over and over and over, kind of like Kafka's K on, It was a song that the Lomaxes had collected from a black woman in Rayford State Penitentiary in Florida. And I do believe it was 1926. And Ozella Jones sang it way high, like a little girl. I believe. I've been a bad, bad girl. Wouldn't treat nobody right. I can't sing it the way she did. I wouldn't even try because I don't imitate. And I very, very rarely sing songs from Black experience in America. I sing songs that I have an identity with, and the all that's coming out now with Black Lives Matter is bringing up a huge amount of my childhood, which was in segregated Washington, D.C. So this is one of the very, 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 I'm trying to think of what other songs that I sing that are from Black experience. I just don't know. So it's hard to sing. It's very hard to sing. It's not one I would normally give you the chorus of. So we're going to run through it, and only you will know whether you've got it right, because I won't be able to hear you. But I've known it, I'm 85 now, so I have known it for nearly 80 years. And that's an astounding thought. And it's my comfort song in a very strange way. My voice is not as good as it used to be, nowhere near. But this one, for some reason, I never have any trouble with, It is I have been a bad, bad girl in my life, done things that didn't earn me a 35-year sentence in Rayford State Penitentiary, but they certainly are things that have lived with me over and over and over again. So I can put in my own experience when I sing this in my head, which to me is necessary for a lot of folk singing. And that's the end of the little lecture. So it's only got 3 verses. And she apparently just sat and crooned this. She was nearly nearly executed. And it turned her brain. That's as I understand it. And she just sat and just crooned this song all the time. As I said, it only has 3 verses, but it has a short refrain that goes like this. Now I'm so sorry, even the play day I was born. I want to say to all you bad fellas that you are in the wrong. Now, if this is below your range, don't bother with worrying about it. You can half speak it, you know. Now, Steve, I want you to sit still because I'm seeing you and you're rocking from one side to another. And it's beautiful. Try to rock in rhythm with it. I see no place where I can put myself on speaker view. There should be a place, but I ain't got it. Wait a second. Yes, I'm getting it. Well, I am speaking, but I'm not on speaker view. But there you go. Let's not bother.
Peggy, I've got you on speaker view for the audience, so you're good.
Okay, all right. Well, I'm in a little postage stamp up in the corner on mine, so that's good for the ego. Yeah, I fully believe you need more than your share of ego even to get up on stage. But that's another lecture, which I'm willing to give. Uh, anyway, I've been self-isolating since the middle of March, so I live on my own. When I get a chance to talk to a bunch of people, I go mad, and that's what's happening now. So here's the first line of the chorus. I'll sing it, and normally in a concert, I would make you return that to me in a form that I could bear to listen to. I won't be hearing you, which is too bad, but you won't be hearing other people. So it's an exercise in just enjoying whatever we can get out of it. And it's beautiful to look at your face, Joe. You are so good to look at. Okay, so here is the first little bit of the chorus. Now I'm so sorry. Now I'm so sorry. Okay, there was a couple of you not singing there. Now you're now you're so sorry. Now I'm so sorry. And now the next bit is even the day I was born. Even the day I have to come at it. Now I'm so sorry. Even the day I was born. Lip read me, and we'll just go slowly. Now I'm so sorry, even the day I was born. You got it? Anybody there who doesn't got it? Okay, next line. I want to say to all you bad fellas, I want to say to all you bad fellas, I want to say to all you bad fellas. Now let's do up to there. Now I'm so sorry, even the day I was born. I want to say to all you bad fellas, then final line, that you are in the wrong. That you are in the wrong. My voice has dropped down to my boots. Get as near to it as you can. I want to say to all you bad fellas that you are in the wrong. So how are you doing? You doing okay there? All right. It's possible there's a repeat in there. No, I'm so sorry, even the day I was born. No, there's only those two lines. Okay, I sing this low, not because I don't like to sing high, but because to me it feels more like what I would do if I was in a prison cell. I don't think I'd be singing high. Maybe she didn't have a low voice, but mine's low these days. So here's Ozella Jones's song. And she was put in jail for murdering, I do believe murdering her lover. You know, in France, she would have been forgiven. That was a crime of passion, you know. We won't go into that with what's happening with the election. Okay. I've been a bad, bad girl. Wouldn't treat nobody right. I've been a bad, bad girl. wouldn't treat nobody right. They want to give me 35 years. Someone wanted to take my life. Now I'm so sorry, even the day I was born. Repeat. Now I'm so sorry, even the day I was born. I want to say to all you bad fellas that you are in the wrong. Judge, please don't kill me. I won't be bad no more. Judge, please don't kill me. I won't be bad no more. I'll listen to everybody, something I never done before. Now I'm so sorry, even the day I was born. Now I'm so sorry, even the day I was born. I want to say to all you bad fellas that you are in the wrong. I'm sitting here in prison with my black cap on. I'm sitting here in prison with my black cap on. I want to say to all you bad fellas that you are in the wrong. Now there's another line in there. That's strange. That's the first time that's happened, but there's a first time for everything.
Boys, remember me even when I'm dead and gone.
Good. Boys, remember me even when I am dead and gone. Now I'm so sorry, even the day I was born. Now I'm so sorry, even the day I was born. I want to say to all you bad fellas that you are in the wrong. Yeah. Ozella Jones. She was probably only in her 20s when she was put in. As I've sang this through the years, and I have sung it all my singing life, until just recently, I would think now she would be such and such old at this point. Ozella would be such and such, because that's the way you identify while you're singing. And she was an actual person. Yeah.
Peggy, that was absolutely, absolutely lovely. Thank you so much. That was a journey through some emotional content for sure. And I loved the fact that you closed your eyes while you were singing it, like you went inside someplace. That was really, really beautiful. And on the subject of not remembering lyrics, I would just hand you this thing somebody taught me, which is pandementia. We can blame everything we forget on the fact that we're in the middle of this strange pandemic and time has lost meaning and it's all confusing. And so I know that Steve's got some questions prepped for you. And Steve, I think you have a hard stop, but I do not. So you want to go ahead and take it now, and then I'll just cover for you when you have to go. You have to unmute.
All right, hi. We had a little unmute problem there. So, Peggy, thank you so much for that song. That was beautiful. And yeah, Ozella Jones of those prison recordings that the Lomax has made. between about 1935 and 1940. They visited the Rayford Penitentiary in Florida many times and made great recordings like that.
Have I got the wrong date, Steve?
It was 36.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
1936. In 1926, John Lomax went through this period when he was a banker because of weird, and he left the bank when the Depression hit and went back to being a folklorist. So, so yeah, it was 36.
Thank you.
And we do have those recordings at the Library of Congress, and of course, Peggy's mother transcribed that one, as she said. So that was. Just a wonderful story about how you came across it. And who could believe that you came across I've Been a Bad, Bad Girl when you had yourself just been a bad, bad girl? It's a wonderful tale. So I'm just going to introduce, a little bit more about the Archive Challenge by mentioning that we've been doing this now since 2015, asking people to learn materials from the archive. But when we started it, we called it the Lomax Challenge. It was the first year of it, and we held it at the Folk Alliance International meeting. And Peggy was one of the participants, but she wasn't on the schedule. So we had made it a showcase where people could sign up to take part. So it was basically musicians who were going to the meeting could contact us and apply to be in this showcase. And so that's the way we ran it. We had only asked one person to participate, and that was Dom Flemons. We didn't actually even know that Peggy was going to be at Folk Alliance that year. And what happened was they scheduled a room right next door to this showcase where Peggy was participating in a panel. And so she saw on the door that there was this showcase dedicated to Alan Lomax specifically. This was in 2015. It was the centennial of Lomax's birth. And so she said, I want to do something for Alan. And she just came into the room and said, is there a slot for me? And we already had the sound set up for Dom, but after Dom, we would have to change the sound for the next person anyway and keep changing the sound each time. So we said, yeah, you go on second right after Dom. And so Peggy went on and she gave a beautiful talk about Alan Lomax that is so, it's not only informative and factual, but it was poetic about Alan coming to England when Peggy was living there back in the 50s, and how he sort of shook up the scene there. And it's just a beautiful impromptu talk about her relationship with Alan and Alan's work. And so I really recommend it. It's a video which you can find on the Library of Congress website. And so I'm going to kick off the discussion by asking Peggy a question. And then unfortunately, as Joe said, I have to run off because I have to interview Cy Khan. So I'll say hi to Cy for you, Peggy. But I'm gonna start out the discussion by asking Peggy if she has any memories of the Lomaxes that she'd like to share for us, since they were the collectors of this song.
Gosh, probably. Well, Alan was a continual visitor to the house. I think somehow, apparently he came when I was about 2 years old, because he was born in 1915, I do believe. Is that right?
Yes, 1915.
Yeah. So, and I was born in 35. And I would have been probably 2 years, 3 years old when they first, because according to my parents, he would sit me on his lap and put his knees up and down and sing Abdullah Bulbul Amir. And whenever he came to visit, that's the first thing he had to do when he walked in the door. He had to sing Abdullah Bulbul Amir for me, So my memories of him are of a big, big man, because he was substantial. And I'm always fond of saying that his face was a bit like a bison. He was built like a bull moose. It was an extraordinary face, and he had a big face. He was a type of person that I don't remember anyone else like him coming to the house. My father was gentle, shaped like a string bean. If you turned sideways, you wouldn't see him. Then there was Woody Guthrie, who turned up, and he was like a child. I do remember um, Leadbelly turning up. I remember him. I remember him being blue-black because there were quite a number of brown and black people in my life then, and almost all of them were, I'm ashamed to say, in menial position, which is an awful thing to say. These are key workers. We call that our people who do the basic work key workers. But Leadbelly was dressed impeccably. He was dressed like in a suit, and I had not seen a black person dressed like that in my life. And with him, I don't remember anything, but it must have particular, but it must have been John Lomax. Must have been John. It was kind of like a gray eminence next to this extraordinary black man with the big voice. That either that night or some night near to it, I remember Pete and Leadbelly giving a concert in a boxing ring in Washington, D.C. The concert was actually held in a boxing ring. So I don't remember John much, but Alan came in and out of my life constantly. He was a visitor a lot in the house. And his sister Bess, I loved her. Don't remember terribly much about her when she was younger, but I saw her a lot when she was older. But Alan came to England before I did, not after. He came, I do believe, in the early 1950s. You guys would know better than I would. He was largely responsible for the fact that we have a revival over here at all. He got the singers together, the people who were already working with the English Folk Song and Dance Society, and he got them together with people like Ewan MacColl and Bert Lloyd. And I was brought over to England by Alan Lomax. Alan Lomax is responsible for what's happened to me since March 27th, 1956. You know? So he was a big, very jolly man who just, all he wanted to do was collect folk songs. I lived in his house in England when I first turned up. And it was a very small house, and it was when he first got together with Shirley Collins, and his daughter Anna came to live there for a bit. So Alan had this room that was literally wallpapered with analog tapes, boxes and boxes and boxes. He lived in chaos with all of their tails hanging out, kind of like if you travel behind a truck that's carrying those portaloos and somebody's left the toilet roll on, and then it all floats out the back. That's Alan's bookshelves was full of little tails, Tails, of analog tape. And he would get along somebody like there. I remember him recording Seamus Ennis there. And we had the Irish Piper, and we had to bring all their food into the other room because Alan refused to let Seamus leave because Seamus was a drinker. And if he let Seamus leave the microphone where he didn't have any liquor, he would start drinking. So all the food was brought in. So it was a tiny flat. And this is Alan to the core. This is Alan. He borrowed my guitar to play something, and he left it behind a door. And then he stumbled in to the room, and he opened the door and shattered my guitar. And I was bereft. And he turned around and he said, oh, sorry, honey. Okay, Seamus, now what are we going to do? I mean, he was tunnel vision on whoever and whatever. And to watch him recording somebody was amazing, because he could make you believe you were the best singer, the best player, the best dancer that he had ever seen in his whole life. His whole life. Ewan MacColl had a wonderful story to tell about it. Have I got?
You absolutely have time. I'm curious whether or not when he did that, if you made him sing "I've Been a Bad, Bad Boy," because it was another instrument destruction. No,
I don't remember that. Oh, gosh.
I'm just teasing. Go ahead, Peggy.
But apparently Ewan MacColl, my first life partner, traveled with him quite a bit in Italy. And he said there was one extraordinary night. I don't know if Ewan put this into his autobiography, but Ewan used to talk about it a lot. Alan just trod like a bull in a china shop over whatever social mores there were at the time. Alan told me that one of the most frightening times of his life was when he had been recording the wife of an Appalachian hill farmer, and it was just the hill farmer and the wife and Alan with his recording machine. And the recording machines then were pretty heavy things that you know. And Alan happened, when the woman sang something fantastic, he happened to put his hand on the knee of the woman and say, "That was wonderful, honey." And the man went to the wall, got his shotgun down, and literally escorted Alan out of the holler, out and gone. Alan, he was a bull in a china shop, completely. It could be charming, it could be dangerous, it could be really rude, extremely rude. Somehow women forgave him, men did not. But this is an example, and Ewan described it much better than I will. They're in Genoa, and they're collecting from a group who sing I don't remember what they're called, but Steve probably would have known, or any one of you who are really into folk music, called the guitarra singing, where the group of men sing the guitars. They sing the vocables of a guitar, and the singing is absolutely beautiful. It's choral, choral singing, and they were inside this tiny bar, and Alan couldn't get the sound properly, and they couldn't get all the singers in. So he asked them to go outside, and it was pouring with rain. And he got these guys outside singing their hearts out in the rain for Alan Lomax. Then he went to record the wife of one of the singers, who also sang ballads, and Ewan was in on this one, and this one is just primo, this story. And Alan, who probably had learned something from the Appalachian hill farmer, at the end of the song this woman sang, and the other singers were gathered round listening to this woman sing, Alan went like this. He went, "Beautiful, beautiful, 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 beautiful." He didn't do that. Sorry, he did this. "Beautiful, beautiful." And that is the sign in Genoa for "you are a cuckold." Someone is going after your wife. And the thing about the story is that apparently the whole meeting went completely quiet. Alan was not murdered. He was not escorted out, but he was allowed to continue recording. You know, it's you never know when you're putting your putting your foot in it. You never know. And that's in terms of all the problems we're having now with all of the different levels of the society. And I don't mean levels in terms of better, worse, higher, lower. I mean the different, what's the word, tiers. And I don't know what it is I'm looking for. The different groups that we have that we're trying to work together. We have no idea of sometimes of how we are offending. We have no idea of how we're complimenting. We're just all trying to get on with it, you know. So Alan Lomax was a bull in a china shop, and he did break things, but my goodness, he brought some gems in to replace them. He did. Yeah.
That's great.
I miss him. I miss him. I do. I do. And he was a
Hey,
forward thinker with choreometrics and cantometrics. He was.
Peggy, thank you so much for sharing those stories. I think Lomax, like so many other pieces of history, it's complicated, right? We didn't always know how to talk to each other, or I mean, that is, in fact, you're right, very much part of the problem right now is maybe we've all done too much talking from our own place and not enough listening to understand really how to connect with people. So we can oftentimes be unintentional bulls in a china shop. And hopefully that's part of what this awareness that we all see going on right now in our culture can do, is encourage us to be better listeners, and which is perfect in this spot, because of course no one in this spot gets to get listened to except for you and me, right? Everybody else has to just sit there and listen to us, which is maybe not so fair. But actually, to that end, I will say that I do have time. Steve did have to leave to go to his SciCon interview, but I have time to stay here. So after we say goodbye to Facebook, I'm happy to keep folks in the room and actually to give you the power to unmute yourself, and we can take hands and there can be some conversation. Peggy, I will say that there are the most beautiful things written in the chat box to you, and I will copy them out and send them to you after this so that you can read them while you're sitting there in your house by yourself, actually connecting with all the folks who've been trying to connect with you in here. Just quickly, Peggy, there is one request in the chat, and please feel free to say no. Susan in Gettysburg has asked whether or not you'd be willing to sing a little bit of the Abdul Abubu Amir. Do you remember?
Nope. I never learned it.
There you go. So I will find a link for everybody, and I will pop that into tomorrow's email, as well as the link to the performance that Steve mentioned happening spontaneously at the conference that they were both at. So what I'm going to do now is say goodbye to everybody on Facebook. Thanks so much, gang, for joining us. Hope to see you here again tomorrow. If there are folks out there who wish that they could now come in here, just go to the Washington Rebels site and click on the Daily Antidote of Song, and then click on Join in the Room, and we'll continue to admit people here if you guys transfer over. Thanks again for being here, and lots of love, and sing with you all tomorrow.